Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Energy and Metals Report. I'm starting with natural gas here. So we're looking for a retracement level of 38.2%, roughly around the 24 here, and then a move down. Wave fours can be a bit time consuming and complicated, but as it goes so far here, in simple terms, we've got the sharp move up, which is typical of an A wave, and then would be looking for a B wave and then a C wave up through here in 5 waves. Now, yes, well, I just don't know how complicated it's going to be. Most of these corrections have been kind of short and swift, really, haven't they? So, it may not even get back up to this point, but let's just allow it to mature further, and then let's take a look at it at that stage. I would imagine that a move under this particular low here would trigger the next move down from here. So let's just see how we go. And also, I mean, oil's been propped up for a while, hasn't it? And we're looking for a top there as well. And I think it's also good to have a look at the euro currency video as well, because it highlights where the US dollar index is at the moment, and that will possibly apply some pressure into the market. The oil market, as you know, we've been looking at wave 3 here, and an A and a B and a C wave here for wave 4, and then we're looking down here as wave 1, and then an ABC back for wave 2, and then moving down from that area here. Now, a couple of points here. Firstly, as an alternative count, this A, B, and C here could just be the wave A here, and then a sharp move down for this alternative wave B. That's what I've got there for. And if that is correct, then we would see 5 waves up here then. So this would be wave 1 here, wave 2, wave 3 here, wave 4, and wave 5 up here to complete a larger wave 4 here. I don't know what the probability of that is just yet, but what I mean, we've mentioned that before, but I'd just like to sort of say it again, in terms of actually trading the little sucker here, then a breaking of this trend line here would certainly be a catalyst for setting up a short trade. Now, it's also possible that the wave C2 high here can be in place. So I'm just going to go into the 15-minute chart now to have a look at this situation. So as it stands, we've just get a bit of bearing here, wave 1 down here and an A wave over here. The move across here is a little bit complicated. You could probably put it as a triangle pattern as well. I've just labeled, I always try to go for the most simplest thing that I can find. An A wave, a B wave in 3 waves, and a bit of a dodgy looking C wave here, but it's here as wave B. It looks quite impulsive, this move here, as wave 1, an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here. And then I was looking at this as being the whole 3rd wave up here. And the 4th wave, 38.2 retracement level, is here. So it can have one more high here and then fold down from here. So you can kind of see the dilemma. We want to look for short trades, but I'm not sure if that's the top just yet. It possibly is. I just don't know, because it all depends on how you count this across here. So I suggest that let's just allow the market to unfold a little bit further, and let it sort of vibrate across this level, the 4800 here, this minor level 8 here. So we should be able to see, over the next 2 sessions, we should be able to see some price action here that will give us some sort of indication to let us know if this is finished here or we're looking higher, or in fact if we're actually looking for that B wave down here and a higher move up here. If this market comes down here and spends a fair bit of time under here, like a good session or so, then it's highly likely that the top is in play, and then you can look to build in a short trade through here. If it does move through this trend line, be mindful that whatever happens, it's highly likely to come back and test it once. it can also do it twice. So just be mindful of your stops at that point there. So, let's just get a bit more information here so we can confirm things. The gold market. This is a weekly chart, and essentially we're looking up here for wave 1 and back down here for a wave 2 here on the weekly chart, and then up for the wave 3 here. There's a whole different range of ways to count this market as such down here, but I really like this being a third wave here, because obviously it's really long and strong, isn't it? Like typical wave 3. This suits an A and a B and a C for wave 4 here, and then it gets really messy down here. It's very unusual that a market would trade this close here without moving into 1,000, the next level. It's always sort of pulled there. And what I normally find is that if we bring in some other levels here, some minor levels, so 100, 200 and 300. Now, normally when I find a market moving down, once it locks under the number 2 here, the pivot, then it's basically doomed and it will be pulled like a magnet down into this 1,000 here. So I think that's where it's heading. And, when we look at some of those stocks, like we looked at a few days ago, Newcrest Mining and so forth, they're sort of tanking down quite strongly as well. So plus the stronger US dollar that's expected. So yes, we're working low, but I have to say that this move down through here, whichever Elliott wave person that you look at to get some other count with it, they'll all be pretty much different, or some will be the same, and so on and so on. But the main point is that it's highly likely to be pulled into this particular level here. It's also likely it's also probable, well, it's just depends on how you count it. Once we get down here, then we'll get a bounce. It's also fair to say that that this move into this area here, by the way, this is the 61.8 retracement level below here and the 50% back up. Gold's got a very strong point of actually working with the 50% retracement levels all through its history. It's also probable that I've got this down here as an A wave here, and then we'll look for a B wave back 50-60% to the medium level here, and then down again. But there is space for this market also to have this over here, this wave 2 here, to be in place over here, and we can go straight up from that point. Now, this wave structure here doesn't suit that kind of behavior. However, when you look back in its history here, if I can come back in its history, all the sort of retracement levels here have all been quite singular. They've all been sort of, straight down. They haven't been sideways and complicated and all the rest of it. So this would just be a reoccurring pattern of a lot of these situations here of the same degree, lesser degrees, but same pattern. So that's sort of worth having a bit of a look at. But as it stands, we need to look down here for support. So just moving in here on the daily and the 4-hour chart to have a look at this. Now, as I said, there's lots of different ways to count all of this here, and I don't think it should bother us too much. I think that if we just stay within the structure that we know, then we'll be okay. I mean, I've put this here as the A wave here, basically a B wave here, and this has got 5 waves in it. So it kind of suits like an A and a B and a C wave here. So I know that all this is dodgy here, and I'm not even going to go into it. And this wave 4 has come back up into wave 1 here, but we've seen this with derivatives before. So that's okay. I mean, I could count it as a series of A, B, C's and other things as well. But I think that it's sort of pointless because there's no real, reality that we can grab hold of here. What we can do, though, is that this move up through here, whichever way you look at it, is corrective, because it'd be like an A and a B, or a B to here and a C up to here, and this move down here certainly overlapping any structures here, and we're starting to see in here, we're starting to see series of impulse waves moving down into this sort of space here. So it's likely to to continue down here. Now we've got this trend line through here which is just off the 1000, so we need to be a bit mindful of that. This last low here was a 50% retracement level as well, so if this market moves down to here, we're likely to see some support at this point here, so acknowledge that. What we can do in the meantime is that the move down through here, we can start, well, we can count it as 5 waves. It's obviously not finished. So we'll just go into the 4-hour chart here, just sort of drilling in a little bit here. What's clear and what's not. So if we have this as a wave 4 up here, and look at this as a wave 1 coming down through to here, and a wave 2 to here. I mean, this wave 1 can also sit in here as well, but it doesn't matter. We've got this reference point here of wave 2 here, and this move down through here is starting to, it's hitting this particular trend line too. So we can start to look for lows in here, and we'll be looking for, that would be, I need to pull this apart a little bit more, but it does appear that there's 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th here. I haven't counted the 5th wave, but down here we'll be expecting a low here somewhere. So, we are looking for a corrective pattern here. And then down again from this point here. And remember that wave 5 in commodities can extend as well. But there are support levels down at this end down through here. So we need to be mindful of that. So I just thought I'd start from the bigger picture and sort of drill in. But whatever happens, we're still 100 points away from, coming down into the 1000 area here. So I will spend a bit of time on this little section here. All right, well, that's it. Cheers.